Would you like to know how to turn this into this? Stick around. I'll show you how it's done. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is Susan with Blue Vinyl Stickers. And what we're going to do today is we are going to take this black and white JPEG and turn it into this beautiful multicolor decal. So the first thing we have to do is we have to trace this JPEG because right now we can't do anything with it. If you right mouse click on it and you look, it is just a picture. We can't do anything with it. We can't cut it, nothing. So we're going to have to trace this picture. So before I go any further, as always, I want to let you know that this is the Silhouette Business Edition and that my buttons are probably going to be in different places than yours are unless you are using the Business Edition. You can do this with any edition of the software, what we're going to do today. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you guys can definitely see it. And I'm going to open up my trace panel. Now my trace panel, to me it looks like a little piece of toast or a butterfly, or I've heard it called a lot of things, but this is your trace panel. So we're going to open it up and select the trace area. So just go ahead and click on it and bring your crosshairs over to the top, hold down your left mouse and drag it across. Lift up your finger off the mouse and this is what it will trace for you. So I'm going to say trace. Now this is a nice clean JPEG. Any nice clean JPEG you can do that exact same procedure with and you'll have a nice clean trace. If you don't have a clean JPEG, well, there's a whole lot of steps that we can go through to clean one up, but today we're using this nice clean JPEG. So I'm just going to set it off to the side. Now when you do a trace, it does make the design a compound path. It will, everything is joined together. If you wanted to send this to your Silhouette cut machine, you could go ahead and do that and it would cut this out and it would do a beautiful job. But it would be all in one color. We don't want one color, we want 5 colors. And with an offset on the monogram. So this is quite a complicated design here, and this might be above several of the beginners. This is more of an intermediate to an advanced design work today. So what we're going to do is we're going to right mouse click and say release the compound path. That's the first thing we have to do because we need to work with all these little individual designs. So we're going to take this and we're just going to really set it off to the side because I'm going to need this area here. Now each one of these areas is an individual design. You see, it's all individuals. Okay, thank God for the undo. We're going to put them all back where they belong. And the first thing we're going to do or want to do is I want to select the blue outside ring here. So I'm going to hold down my shift key and click on the first element here. Now remember where you started. And I know, you're thinking, oh yeah, remember where you started, remember where you parked in the parking lot too. But this is important. Remember where you started. So now we're going to go to the next one. You can work counterclockwise, you can work clockwise. It doesn't matter what you do as long as you click all of the elements that you are wanting in this particular design. We're going to take the fingers off the shift key, right mouse click, say make a compound path. And what that has done is it takes all of those elements that I have just selected and now made them one object. So I'm going to put them back where they belong, select them again, and while we're here, we're going to just go ahead and make them blue because that's what color they are here. Now, I'm going to do this a couple of different ways, and you're thinking, well, why didn't she do it all at once? Well, because then I couldn't show you some of the other features I'm going to show you. So just kind of bear with me. So I'm going to go in here to the next blue one, click on it, put my shift key down, click on the next one, and so forth all the way around the object. Lift my finger off the shift key, grab it, and see if I got everything. And I didn't get everything. Okay, so I'm going to put it back where it belonged, and then put my finger back down on the shift key, grab that final piece, and it should, yep, be all together. I'm right here, I'm going to say right mouse click and make a compound path. Okay, we're just going to kind of put these back where I think they are. Don't worry, we'll line them up later so they're perfect. So right now we're going to turn it blue because that's what it is over here. Now, when we start getting in between these bigger pieces into the smaller areas, the chances of grabbing some of these smaller areas while you're clicking is good, and it's frustrating. And so what we'd like to do is just take those two pieces, those two rings, and just set them off to the side. And now we have full access to the outside away from the other objects that we can click, and we can click, and now go around and make sure that we have boxes around every one that we want. Right mouse click, say make a compound path, and we're going to color them turquoise. We're going to take it and set them to the side. And the next one that is turquoise, it looks like it's this little heart. So we're going to grab these little hearts, same procedure every time. Oops, you see what I did? I grabbed that instead. So if you grab something you don't want, just click on it again and the box will go away. So we want to grab the hearts. Okay, did you catch what I said on that one? I said it kind of fast, I know. If I click on this and I don't want it, you see how I clicked on it? Just click on it again and the box will go away. It's kind of an erase or a, oops, didn't mean to do that. Right mouse click, compound path, blue, turquoise. There it is, grab it, pull it away. Now, the little pieces here, let me grab these next. Your silhouette will cut these, but it will probably chew up your vinyl at the same time because we are going to be resizing this down to about 3.5, 4 inches. And at that point in time, those little pieces are just going to become dots in your vinyl and not make a nice, pretty cut. So we're just going to highlight them all, hit the delete key, and get rid of those little guys. Now, let's go ahead and hit the shift key again and grab everything in the outside. And right mouse click and make a compound path. You can either make a compound path or you can group it. Either one works. I'm going to do that and put it off to the side. Now you see it's starting to get real fine in here, real close. So what I did is I want the center to be black. So we're going to just highlight. You see why I got rid of those little teeny pieces? Because it would make it real difficult to try to click around those little teeny pieces. And I think I got everything. Let's go ahead and look. I didn't get anything I didn't want. So we're going to say right mouse click and make a compound path. And make them black. And look at that. I got everything. I was sweating that one for a second. Now, let's grab this last set here. And I believe that last set is, yep, it's that pink. Grab it, put it away. Now, I want all of these little dots, but I want them so I can cut them out. If I was just to say, take this, right mouse click and say group, when I go to color this in, and I think I colored them in red, there's really nothing that I can do. It won't cut these little circles that I've got there. But if I right mouse click right now and say make a compound path, watch what happens. There's all those little dots. Okay, so Everything's a compound path. Everything is where I want it. We're not going to worry about the outside lines. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to select all of this. Come over here to our transform window, which is looks like the little barbells. Hit this one, and here is our design, perfect in the center again. Isn't that neat how that does that? So here's what I wanted to show you. Now, as you can see, this is different, this is different. You know, I've got all these little pieces, but I want them to cut all at the same time. So, okay, well, let's highlight this again and go back over here and hit transform center and center. Each one of those is individual, but I would like to group them. There's an easy way to do that. We're going to come up to edit and then select by color. And it's going to bring up our little box here that says select by color. You want to say include groups and only the shapes on the media. And the media is your work surface. If you didn't do that, it would select stuff that's over here or over here, and I don't want to do that. So I also don't want to do by line, because if I did by line, my outline is all red. Every single one of those has a red outline. And so if I select it, it selects everything. Well, I don't want everything. I want individual colors. So I select by fill. So if I click on these, right mouse click and say group. Now these are all grouped together. Set it off to the side. Don't need to, but just to show you. I want the dark blue, right mouse click, group. There it is. The red, it's only one color. Throw it away and throw it away. And then this, right mouse click, group. They're all one. So let's put it all back together. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors. Okay. Now this design is basically ready to cut. Almost. What I want to do is I want to put the monogram in the center. And I already have a monogram that I have set up here. Get rid of this. And what this is I took a monogram that I liked. And if you look at one of my other videos, you can see that I have used the offset window. Well, watch what it does. We're going to say offset, and it puts the lines around the outside edge. And as I said previously, they are all one. Okay, here's a little teeny line that I really don't think I need to cut out because it will go ahead and just beat up the vinyl. So we're going to say, let's move this out of the way. Come over here, and as I've said always, this is a compound path. So right mouse click and say release the path, and it gives you all those open areas. Now we can do one of two things. We can have this as a solid background, or we can line it up and have each as an outline. I like the outline area. So I'm just going to take and get rid of this one because it is just so small. And I'm going to get rid of this one because it's so small. It will be extremely small. Highlight everything, right mouse click and say make the compound path again. Now I want it to be black. So there it is. And all I have to do, because they're the same thing, I haven't changed the sizes or anything. I want to say group, and there it is. Okay, and because the outline or the offset is always in the back, I don't have to worry about moving it to back to front. Now, if I wanted to, I could move it to the front. Yeah, bring it to the front, but that's not what I want to do. So right mouse click and go ahead and we're going to highlight. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to take and I am going to group this so I don't lose it, and I'm going to say copy because I want to still leave this here on my work surface here. And I'm coming over here to this one here. Oops, didn't want to do that. Right now we can say group because I want to keep things together. right mouse click and say paste. And here it is. So let's size it down. Okay, and then again, center and center. And there it is. Okay, so now I can say ungroup because I had grouped it, and take this and ungroup it. And this color here, believe it or not, is this color. So I'm going to come back here to edit and then select by color, and I want the blues. Right mouse click and say group. And now, as you can see, this will cut as one design. And now I'm going to go to the black and say right mouse click and group. And now the black will cut as one design. The pink will cut as one design, the red will cut as one design, and the turquoise will cut as one design. So highlight everything and stick it all back together. And we are going to say group, just so it doesn't lose its shape. So I said I wanted these at about, let's make this 4 inches. So come up to my transform and then my scale. Believe it or not, that is a scale. And lock the lock because this is round, well, almost round. And I want to make it 3.5 inches. Well, let's make it 4 inches. So you type in 4 and then hit enter on your keyboard. Okay, if you don't hit enter on your keyboard, it won't do anything. You have to hit enter on your keyboard. So now we need these to cut all the same. So we need some registration marks. So let's pull out some boxes. Excuse me. And we are going to place some registration boxes down here. So just draw a little box. Hit your select tool, select it, and then we're going to replicate it. It's close enough. Take this one and highlight that. Come back over to your transform window to your horizontal, and let's make it align to the right. So I want it to align to the right of that design. And then I'm going to take this one and highlight the design, and I want it on the left side. But you see how it went over there? It just popped the design over there. So what you need to do, don't forget this part. Up and highlight, make sure it's even, and group it. Now when you come over here to this side, it takes everything over and shifts it over. We're going to get rid of this one because we don't need it. We only need 3 of these. Take this and this, center it. Now we're going to ungroup, and we're going to make sure it's not grouped with anything. Highlight those, right mouse click, group, and turn them black. Now it's not really going to matter what color they are. It's just so I can remember that they're there. Now you see it's a little close here. Let me get this little. Okay. It's a lot close there. So these will overlap. So I'm going to highlight these and just use my down arrow, and I'm going to bring it down, about that much. Doesn't really have a set amount that you need to bring it down. Now, this is one full design. We're going to right mouse click and we're going to say group. Right mouse click and say duplicate. Because when I pull things apart, I want to make sure that they all move as one. So I can come back here and I can say ungroup. So this will be grouped and this will be grouped. So let's hit undo and undo. I want to keep these grouped. Right mouse click and say ungroup. And you see it puts all those boxes around the edges. So each one of those designs is now an individual design. Okay. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say duplicate and pull this one off. And ungroup and ungroup until you see all those boxes. And I am going to say duplicate because we need 5 of these. Now this is going to have to go into an additional cutting mat. So, depends on the size of your design, and it depends on how many colors you have as to how many different cuts you need to make. So right mouse click, ungroup, right mouse click, ungroup. You see all the boxes? Okay. Same thing here. Right mouse click, ungroup, right mouse click, ungroup. Now, this is the fun part. Now, let's do this. Highlight them all and say duplicate because I do need to make one more. And we'll just set it off to the side. And we will group it. So this is the fun part. We are going to take we're going to make the blue. Actually, we're going to make the black as the final what everything is setting on top of, because the blue actually has to sit on top of the black here. So we're going to take the blue, and we're going to get rid of it. And we're going to take the turquoise and the red and the pink and get rid of them. This is going to be your design. So highlight it and group it. This one, we want to get rid of the black because we already have it. And we'll get rid of the turquoise and the red. Okay, this will be your second one. Come down here. Since we've got the blue and the black, we can take the blue and get rid of it. And we can take the blue and get rid of it here because we don't need it. And take the black and get rid of it. And the black and get rid of it. So there's the blue and the black. And then we'll take the red and get rid of it. And we will get rid of the turquoise. And then from here, we'll get rid of the pink. And this is actually a 6-color design, so let's go ahead and duplicate this one again. I just can't count. And this one will have, get rid of the turquoise. Okay, highlight those and get rid of them because you don't need them anymore. And then on these two over here, go ahead and ungroup. And this one also ungroup. So we need to get rid of the blue and the black and the pink and the red. And so all we have left is the turquoise. Oh, maybe I was right with just 5 colors. Just can't count some days. And say group. But we're just going to go ahead and leave this up here just to tell us what it should look like. So we have black, which is here. We have the blue. We have the turquoise below it. We've got the red, and we've got the pink. What we'll do is we will send this to the machine, and each one of these pieces of vinyl that you need to put on here will need to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 square. Line it up on your mat. Okay, so this one here, see the blue, or the black, I can take and put that up in this 3 by 3 or 4 by 4. What I said I wanted to do is the black has to be the very bottom layer. So you're going to be building all of these pieces on top of those, the black one. So the black actually needs to be as big as the rest of them. Okay, so don't think you're going to save vinyl by cutting a smaller piece, because you actually do need that backing piece. After you take off that vinyl, you will be layering this vinyl onto that back. So you end up with a nice decal, and it's got a backing. So we're going to take this and just, move it over so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So don't overlap them so they're like this. You've got to think this is a piece right here. and group this and group this. And you can actually move this up if you want to, move it down. Oops, I didn't get everything. Group, and did I get everything here? Yes, I did. So you can actually take this one if you want. If you wanted to, you can move it up a little bit. Oops, I didn't get everything here. Wow. Pays to pay attention, guys. Group it and put it up here. Okay, so each one of those pieces is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 by 5 on 4 colors, and line it up on your mat. And if you look, this one is at 5 inches. See it 5 inches here? Okay, so line it up at 5 inches here, 5 inches here. The next one, line it up at 5 and put it down. Line it up at the bottom of that at 5, and this one at 5. And then this one will just be another cutting, and the same thing, 5 by 5. Because if you look, okay, it's 5 by 5. All right, guys, so that's how you go about designing the 5-color mandala, and hopefully I can get you how to put it back together after it's cut. So join me in a few minutes. Bye for now.
Hi everybody. Okay, let's see if this actually works. I've never gotten an actual video to work on this, so let's go ahead and watch me weed the last of these little guys. All right. So what you see here is you've got all of the pieces, and they are still all on my mat, and they all have their little registration marks here. So what I've done is I've cut myself a piece of transfer paper, and this is actually a clear transfer. You can see it, it's actually clear. I do use sizer on this one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it down from the back side, and I'm going to fold it down just about that much, and I'm going to crease it. Okay, and see how it's creased. Okay, now remember I said that I want this one on top of this one, but first I want to go ahead and layer some of the other layers. So let's start over here with, and this is 2 mats, they're just on top of each other, they're nothing special. I'm going to take and line up since I cut this, my transfer paper, the same size as my backing paper, I should be able just to line it up, take it and set it down and rub it on here real well. Flip it back, get my squeegee. This is just a generic squeegee. Take and squish it off. Okay, no bubbles, no gaps, no nothing. Give it a good burnish, and don't get rid of this piece of paper. You'll see why in a minute. Okay, the next one that we want to put on is this one. So I want to take and layer this one on top of that one. So I'm going to lift it up, and there's my design. Now turn it over. So this is the sticky side. You see, this is the sticky side. We're going to take that piece of paper and we're going to lay it right back down on top. Okay, so you end up with your decal with the decal backing, and here's your transfer marks. So let's get rid of that map. This is where it gets to be real precise. I hope you can all see this. What I'm going to do is I am going to line up these 3 marks here with these 3 marks here, and I'm going to keep this paper on here so none of the adhesive touches the rest of the design. So watch what happens. We'll line it up. Once it's lined up, press it in there and do the exact same thing. Take your squeegee and just squish it off on. Okay? Again, don't get rid of that piece of paper. Give it a nice clean burnish. And again, lift it up. Gonna have to burnish it. Give it a little burnish. Come on, get in there. Sometimes it just likes to stick in there, so you know that. Okay. Lift off your design. Turn it upside down. Put your piece of paper back on. And there's your design so far. Okay. We're going to come back over here to the pink one and do the exact same thing. We're going to line up those 3 little squares. Squish it in there real good. Flip it over. Slide it. There's your design. Again, lift it off. And if you have to give the bottom layer a little nudge, go ahead and do that, and it'll lift off. The rest of them will come off real nicely. Flip it over. Put your paper back on. Now, I'm going to do this one. Line it up. Push it on. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lift it off. Now remember, your transfer tape has been on and off the backing paper several times, so it's not, the sticky is starting to go away, so you may have to burnish it just a little bit harder than normal. Okay, and again with the alignment squares, just help them off the mat a little bit. Okay, turn it over. Align the paper again, and this will be your last transfer. So do the same thing again. I'm going to line this one up. This one needs to be really super exact, which it looks like it's pretty good. And push it on, and you guys want to see it? It's pretty darn good. There it is. Go ahead and get this off the mat for you. And there you go. It's just a little bit high because, as you can see, it was just a little bit high here. So, but it's a little bit high here. But it still looks perfect to me. I would use this decal. I'll meet you back over at the computer.
Hi everybody, and thanks for joining me back here at the computer. As you can see, that was a beautiful decal. Didn't take much work to put it back together. You just have to be really accurate. And unfortunately, that last little step, I wasn't all that accurate, but you know, Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Just keep in mind that the more you place the transfer paper on and off of the backing, the less and less sticky it will be. So by the time it gets to the black, you are going to have to burnish it a little bit harder than normal to get that little bit of black that is left to come up off. But once it comes off, then the decal itself will have no problem sticking to anything you want to put it on. So thanks again for joining me here at Blue Vinyl Stickers. And if there's anything that you'd like to see me talk about in the future, please don't hesitate to send me a message down below, and I'll do my best to see what I can do to help you out. Thanks again. Bye for now.